About a week ago, I walked into class. I was well rested. I was feeling good. Sun was sunny. I came in, I sat down, and I turned to my friend. Now, this dude is frantically looking over his notes. Now, I'm like, dude, what's the deal? Why are you so excited about your notes? And he turns to me and he says, we have a quiz. I look him dead in the eye because I have not studied at all. I could have panicked. I could have said, dude, I didn't study, I forgot, and started frantically looking over my notes. But instead, I said, you know what? There's nothing I can change in the past. We have a quiz. The best thing that I can do is just look over my notes, but look over them calmly and in a way that possibly it might actually stick into my head. I later found out that I aced that quiz. Didn't study for it, didn't do anything for it. Next time I'm going to study for it. But here's the message, here's the point, here's the takeaway. There is nothing in your life, there is no event in your life that controls how you feel. Everything that goes into your head, you allow whatever emotion you want to attach to it. There is nothing, there is never anything that changes how you feel. Because remember that anything anybody else says, anything that happens to you, any event that happens, it's only that. It's only what they said. It's only an event that happened. It's not affecting you until you let it. Your mind is your sanctuary. Don't let those things in. Don't force yourself to panic. I used to always let that happen to me in sports games. I would get in the actual field. I would actually start playing. And as soon as I start, my mind turns off. Nothing would stick in my head. And I would play horribly. I would go home. I would hate myself for playing that bad. It's because you let it in. And you say, I'd rather do well than have a peaceful mind. Because you have to realize when you have a peaceful mind, you do so much better in many things. Sometimes you just have to relax a little bit to allow yourself into that flow state where you can do what you need to do and still do well. Now, the first step to kind of letting go, to kind of saying, no, I'm not going to let this into my sanctuary, is to add ping. And what I mean by this is if you ever played like video games or anything, you know what ping is, right? So it's just the amount of time that it takes for your signal on your computer to actually go into the system and register for other people. There are many times in my life when I've had problems come at me, and I said, instead of trying to stay up and think about it, I'm just going to go to sleep. I'm just going to sleep on it. And it turns out that almost every single time, I have a clear idea of what I want to do in the morning. I know how I want to live in the morning. At night, you get caught up in all the things that happened in your day. When you stay up thinking about something, you're like, oh, all these things are happening, and you kind of magnify all the problems in your life. When you wake up in the morning, it's a fresh day, you go for a walk, and you figure it out. You don't have to make decisions right then and there. That's something that will cause you to make a lot of mistakes. Stop thinking that you know exactly what to do. Take some time and say, how will this really play out, especially in the long term? Another tip that has helped me is to always put the words, I think, in front of people's sentences. Now, this is something that I've noticed probably is because of all the English classes that people take. Because you're taught to write in a persuasive way. You're taught to not write your own personal pronouns. You're taught to remove I believe and I think from all of your essays. You're supposed to just write it as it is. Instead of saying, I think the sun is hot, you're supposed to just write, oh, the sun is hot. And when you say things like that, when you're taught to say things like that, it becomes imposed like it's a truth. When I say the sun is hot, yeah, even though the sun is hot, what happens if I said the sun is cold? That's like I'm saying it as its truth. It's not, I think the sun is cold. No, the sun is cold. And that gets in people's heads. And if that's the way we speak and that's the way you hear from other people, you're going to make assumptions about the world that are not true. You're going to think that what people say is absolutely true when it may not be. Almost everything that people say is an assumption. And it will do you so much good to just put, oh, I think. When someone says the sun is cold, put the words, I think the sun is cold in front of their sentence. The third idea that I want to share is that you only have power over your mind, right? You can't change events, you can't change people, but you can change your mind. You can change your attitude. You can change the way that you look at things. You can change your perspective. And I think that's one of the most beautiful gifts that we've been given, that you have power over how you think about things. Frame it in a way that helps you. Frame it so that you're always looking for the lesson. Stop saying, oh, I didn't make it. I failed. What were the inputs that you put in? Next time, change those a little bit, right? Look at your inputs. Don't be so worried about, oh, what are the results that I'm going to get? And my fourth tip for this is to never show anyone, to never let it out of your eyes, right? When my friend told me, oh, we had the quiz, I didn't look at him and be like, oh, shoot, we have a quiz? No. I just stared at him for a second, and without having anything on my face, I had a blank stare, just turned to my notebook. And that helped me stay calm, right? If you're showing everybody else that you're panicking, I guarantee you, you will be panicking yourself. Always remember, nothing can change my mind. I decide how it is. Events can happen, but that does not affect who I think I am. You have power over your mind. With that, I hope that you got something from this video, and I hope that you go out and conquer.